and welcome to this forum for the Portage County Supervisors for District 15, 16, 17, 19, and 25. My name is Sue Buck, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Stevens Point area. I will serve as the moderator for this forum. The League of Women Voters is a political but nonpartisan organization. The League's primary purpose is to encourage voting by registering voters, providing voter information, and advocating for voter rights. Tonight's event is part of providing voter information through candidates sharing their views of issues of concern to Portage County residents. The co-sponsors of this forum, the SPASH Student Senate, the UWSP Student Government Association, and the Portage County Business Council are also nonpartisan organizations with no endorsement of candidates or political parties. Their interest is helping local citizens to be more informed voters. The county supervisors are responsible for the leadership and coordination of the work of the Portage County government, providing services to more than 70,468 residents and the 27 municipalities of the county. These services include highway, parks and trail systems, protecting the public through the public safety departments, and the county also provides services to children, elderly, and disabled citizens through the Health and Human Services Department, the Aging and Disability Resource Center, and the Division of Public Health. It is the mission of Portage County government to enhance the quality of life for all its residents by providing fiscally responsible services that enable the citizens to build productive communities, families, and lives. The 2024 budget for Portage County is $134,725,015. The Portage County Board meets the third Tuesdays of the month at 5 p.m. County committees meet throughout the month. There are 42 county-related committees. The 25-member County Board of Supervisors are elected every 2 years on even years and serve a 2-year term starting in April. County supervisors receive $59.25 per diem plus mileage of 67 cents for county board meetings they attend. Supervisors receive $53.86 per diem plus mileage for attending committee meetings with a maximum of 2 meetings per diem per day. Committee chairs receive $68.86 per diem and mileage for attending committee meetings. Portage County is a member of the Wisconsin Counties Association, so county supervisors receive $59.25 per diem plus mileage to attend the annual conference. We appreciate that the candidates running for District 15, District 16, District 17, District 19, and District 25 are participating this evening. Candidates for District 15 are Al Haga and Nancy Eggleston. Candidates for District 16 are John Bertelson and Steve Fritz. Candidates for District 17 are Suzanne Olkey and Jackie Zahner. Candidates for District 19 are Amberly Schwartz and Scott Soik. Candidates for District 25 are Ray Reeser and David Peterson. Scott Soik and David Peterson were unable to participate tonight. To provide the most time to hear from the candidates and to provide a fair and equal opportunity to answer questions important to you and this community, I will review the format, time, and terms for this forum. This has also been reviewed with the candidates. Each candidate will first have a minute and a half to introduce themselves and make an opening statement. Then they will have a minute and a half to respond to questions. And I will repeat a question if you need me to do that. Candidates will first respond to some questions submitted by the forum sponsors and then questions from the audience. Questions from the audience must be addressed to all candidates. If you want to submit a question, please motion to one of the ushers who are in the aisle and on the side who have index cards and pencils, and they'll collect them from you. The League reserves the right to review and screen questions for relevance and to avoid duplication. There are timers in front of the candidate tables. A green folder will be held up when their time starts. A yellow folder will indicate 30 seconds remain, and a red folder means that time has expired. Candidates may finish their sentence and then please stop so the next candidate may begin their response. Candidates are asked to keep their remarks germane to the questions and fair to all the participants. And the moderator reserves the right to interrupt to ensure that these ground rules are observed. The order of response to each question will be rotated. We will alternate which candidate answers the question first. The order of opening statements will be chosen by random drawing of the candidates' names. As I've already stated, participating in tonight's forum are Nancy Eggleston, Al Haga, Steve Fritz, John Bertelson, Jackie Zahner, Suzanne Olke, Amberly Schwartz, and Ray Reeser. And now we will begin the minute-and-a-half opening statements. And drum roll. Here we go. John Bertelson will be the first. And here you go.
All right, my name's John Bertelson, and I'm running for the District Number 16 Supervisory position of the Portage County Board. I have to admit that I'm having fun with this, my first actual run for competitive office. I have studied politics as a hobby for a long time, though when the fun is over, whomever wins will actually need to do something. Whenever someone starts a new job, they must prove themselves. Respect does not automatically come with the position. It must be earned on the job. If you do not do a good job, you do not stay on the job for very long. I have done many jobs during my relatively short life, and I have made mistakes, but I learned from them. I was a mediocre student in area grade schools, junior high and high school, but I graduated with honors from UWSP with a paper science degree, and that was not an easy course of study. Still isn't. I started as a process engineer at the paper mill in Port Edwards. Then after much experience in the power department, technical department, and product development, I started in paper production, worked my way up to being in charge of the biggest paper machine in Nakusa as a technical assistant, all while living with and helping my parents. As my parents got older, I voluntarily left my good-paying job to care for my parents. Dad died in 2015, then Mom in 2020. I now co-own my parents' house with my brother. I have lived in the village of Clover for 52 years, and I plan to live here in Portage County for a very long time.
Next person will be
Oh, sorry.
Steve Fritz.
Good evening. My name is Steve Fritz. I'm candidate for District 16 Supervisor on Portage County Board. First of all, I would like to thank the League of Women's Voters for hosting this forum. Your efforts are appreciated. Also, thank you for Subuck for the invitation. When I left the house, my wife said, "Aren't you going to wear a suit?" And I said, "Why? I want people to recognize me." And I have to apologize right away because I'm an old mud Marine and I do get a little loud and rash at times. So, as a Central Wisconsin native, I have a good understanding of the wants and needs of my constituency. They want value for their tax dollars and to be a benefit for all residents and businesses. Having 21 years experience as a trustee on the village board and the last 7 months as a District 16 supervisor, I believe I have a good idea on the process of government. I am a firm believer in representative government, and your voice is my vote on the county board. Thank you.
Okay. Next one is Amberly Schwartz.
Hi, my name is Amberly Schwartz. I am running for District 19. Now, District 19 is kind of an odd district. It's large, it surrounds Stevens Point and Plover, so it entails the town of Linwood and the town of Plover, not the village of Plover, the town of Plover. And then there's this little piece of Grant in there too. So it's kind of like being the voice of two kind of different worlds, because I can tell you the forested areas of Linwood are pretty different from the farm fields in Plover. Getting to know these two areas over the last couple years has been pretty inspiring though. I did run 2 years ago. I did not win. I was a newcomer. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And now I've been staying involved. I've been showing up, and I have been learning a lot. And I am ready for this challenge, and I want to be able to represent the people of my district well. And I will make my decisions based on the needs for the most and science.
Thank you. Al Haga.
Thank you. My name's Al Haga. I'm running for County Board Supervisor for District 15. I've been married for 38 years. I retired from Del Monte Foods after 35 years of service, where I was responsible for several hundreds of employees during the canning season. I have 2 adult sons. I have 4 grandchildren. I've been the County Board Supervisor for 16 years, and I've been the County Board Chair for 6. I'm a member of the Wisconsin Counties Association Board of Directors, which is elected by the 14 counties that I represent in that district. Wisconsin Counties Finance and County Organizational Steering Committee. I'm also on the Mid-State Technical College, North Central Technical College Board Appointment Committee. I'm a member of the North Central Wisconsin Workforce Development Board as well as North Central Wisconsin Regional Planning and Development Committee. I've been on the Village of Plover Planning and Zoning for 25 years, and I'm a Village of Plover trustee. And if that's not enough, on Sundays, you'll find me flipping flapjacks at St. Bron's 8 Sundays out of the year, and or cooking punchkas. So, thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne Olkey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Suzanne Olkey, incumbent County Supervisor, District 17. I'm running for County Board Supervisor to advance the physical, economic, and environmental well-being of Portage County, and to address the issues and problems that touch our everyday lives. The combination of my work experience, community service, and lived experience has provided me skill sets and abilities strong for serving our community. I grew up in rural Wisconsin and stayed here after graduating from UWSP, which was very easy. The package of culture and resources, natural resources, recreation, and jobs was rich then, and it's rich now. My skill sets bring the experience and knowledge essential for doing budgets, making policies, evaluating programs, communicating effectively, and making tough decisions. I've gleaned much from my first 2 years of service as county supervisor, and I'm eager to serve another 2 years. I am committed to make it a priority to hear the voice of the community and represent your viewpoints. If re-elected, I will follow that pathway.
Thank you. Nancy Eggleston.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Nancy Eggleston. I'm glad to see everybody's still awake. It's getting late. I've lived in Portage County since 1974. I graduated from UWSP with a degree in biology. I also graduated from the UW-La Follette School of Public Affairs Women in Government Leadership Program. I spent 40 years working in county government, and with 20 of those years being in a supervisory capacity. And after I retired, I decided I really thought running for county board was a great idea. I felt like my years in county government gave me a good perspective for what it would be on this end of the table. During my work, I worked with individuals and communities both on groundwater issues, and I did that extensively. Due to that, I was appointed to 2 different groundwater committees, one a bipartisan committee, nitrate work group committee convened by Representative Kitchens, and the other was an appointment to the DNR's NR 151 Rule Revision Work Group, which determined standards for land spreading of manure in sensitive areas of the state. I listened to community members and searched for resources. I provided strong leadership, fiscal responsibility, and accountability to the public and responsiveness to stakeholder needs. Leaders must listen to the needs of the residents and be transparent with issues discussed. Portage County residents must have a voice in their community, and I would like to help be that voice.
Thank you. Ray Reeser.
Good evening, folks. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to keep it fairly short. I'm Ray Reeser. I'm the former county supervisor for District 25. I'm running for that district again. District 25 is way on the eastern side of the county. Parts of it are about as far from Stevens Point as you can get. I grew up farming here. I grew up farming in New Hope Township. I went to school here. I taught at UWSP. I started a successful regional business here. I also worked nationally and internationally. I completed a PhD in the geosciences. I've held multiple and hold multiple town, county, state, and professional leadership positions. But my greatest strength may be communication, the ability to both listen to constituents, problem solve, explain complex issues quickly and accurately to a broad audience, and really to have the ability to work and talk with stakeholders, something that I've seen missing when I was on the county board and something that I see an absence of now. Faith and trust in local government is based on a few points: responding to voters' wishes, making public, transparent decisions, responsibly spending county funds or incurring debt, using data and facts to drive decision-making.
Thank you. I'm sorry I have to cut you off.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jackie Zahner.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jackie Zahner, and I'm running for District 17 Portage County Board Supervisor. My district encompasses portions of the villages of Plover and Whiting. I live in Plover and have been in the same home with my husband John for 36 years. I have a registered nurse degree as well as an accounting degree. I've worked at the Portage County Healthcare Center, St. Clair's Hospital, Inclusa, and the Wisconsin Veterans Home at King. I created 2 Wisconsin businesses, JLS Marketing and the Toy Connection. I've also been an accountant for a number of Wisconsin companies in the past. Additionally, it was a great honor for me to serve as Wisconsin Governor's Registered Nurse appointee to the Rural Health Development Council. I have the experience to represent my district neighbors effectively on the county board to move Portage County forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for that. And we will start the first question with Nancy Eggleston, and then we will make a loop. So we'll start with Nancy and then go down the row. So, first question. For several years, important joint decisions between the city and county have been left unresolved. How do you think the city and county can foster a better working relationship to bring current and future decisions to more timely conclusions?
I'm aware that there has been tension between the city and the county, and I think we need to work a lot stronger on civility in our government and getting along better, and also negotiation. When someone makes an offer, you need to make a counter offer, and I think sometimes egos get in the way and we end up not being as civil as we can and not working hard to come to a satisfactory conclusion. So I would like to see better relationships between the city and county, and that will all start with each of us doing our duties as county board supervisors to do the best for the people that we represent, and the best we can do is by exploring all options and working with the city to make decisions that are best for all.
Okay, thank you. Jackie Zahner.
Could you read the question again, please?
For several years, important joint I can't talk anymore tonight. For several years, important joint decisions between the city and county have been left unresolved. How do you think the city and county can foster a better working relationship to bring current and future decisions to more timely conclusions?
So I haven't been involved in the different decisions that they've been looking at and the issues. I do know that there's been issues regarding the jail location, and had read Mayor Wiesa's letter initially in the paper, And that was rather concerning to me. And then that county executive Pavelski responded. It didn't seem to be helpful to me for our communities to be able to be doing that back and forth. I believe we should work collaboratively. If there were concerns that should have been brought forward and be able to talk about, and there can't be this tit for tat. We have to work together because it's for the whole community, for all of Portage County. We need to move forward.
Okay. Amberly.
Thank you. I think elected officials need to be held to a higher standard of accountability and a higher standard of how they get along with others. We're here to work for everyone, so whether we have a grief with another supervisor or someone who's on the city council, it doesn't matter. We have to set that aside and we have to work together. And we have to realize we're not just working for our own interests, we're working for everyone's interests. So being able to put those things aside and collaborate and I'm an educator, I teach kids, so I spend a lot of time fostering cooperation among other people. So I would definitely bring that to the table in trying to bring tensions down and bring communication up.
Thank you. Ray.
I would argue it's been more than several years. There's some bad blood between the city and the county, and it's a little bit baffling. And it isn't helping either the city or the county. When I sat on the county board, I watched the county roll back our wellhead protection zones and language. The city was adamantly opposed to that, and yet the county board did it. I think that we really do need to have people at the table who could work together and work on these issues. We don't have the luxury of having a split county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think the model of working in silos is obsolete, and that's often what I see happening. Each wants to protect their own territory or own their own territory or have it their way, and that really does not get business done. It doesn't advance Portage County in the way that we need to move or in decision-making. The posturing that comes along with siloed business models keeps things internal and excludes external inputs. So we need to understand that inputs produce outputs, and the systems need to really look at each other as colleagues in advancing and working together for the betterment of Portage County.
Thank you. Steve Fritz.
When looking at this, you have to look at county, city, village, county. It's all like a marriage. And in marriage, you have to have a little give and take. And in marriage, sometimes there's a little history that has to be overlooked. And we have to be able to move things along with, and not look at the history of what was behind this project or that project. The Village of Plover, we had some dealings with the City of Stevens Point for the Crossroads Commons project. But we worked it out, and now we've got a very beautiful development out there. So it just has to be like a marriage, a little give and take. Thank you.
So I am probably one of the people that was right in the middle of this when we were talking about getting along with the city and the county. January of '23, in doing my due diligence and going in to talk to the mayor about future possibilities of land for our future jail or justice center. I met in his office. We talked about where sewer and water would be, where bus stops are located, and talked about other things. Then in March, the city of Stevens Point bought the land, 80 acres of it, speculating on the possibility of a fire station. I don't know how much land you need for a fire station, and I'll be curious to see when they do anything with that land other than to try and stop the county from purchasing it. I think it was Supervisor Honnold on the county board floor who told me that we needed a marriage counselor, myself and the mayor. The mayor and I get along very well. The county, I should say the The mayor had sent off a letter, I think it was to Channel 7 or Channel 9, and then Channel 7 or Channel 9 reached out to me, and I told them I didn't think the letter was anything that was productive, and I would rather spend my time working on something to find answers to problems than to try and be confrontational. I'd rather work with people to build bridges than to build walls. So I work with the Ryan Karnowski very well. He's offered to take me out for beers to talk about some different issues. So I think there is that degree of interaction between the county and the city.
All right,
but it needs work.
Thank you. And then,
Just throw it to him.
and John Burleson.
Too hard though.
When I'm meeting a potential voter, the first question I ask them is, who's your county supervisor? And I think only one person knew who their county supervisor was, and I was the same way 2 years ago before I started paying attention to county government. The only local government I really knew or cared about is the Village of Plover. That's where I lived, right? If I had an issue, you start with the Village of Plover. So the city getting along with the county is, the city is part of the county. So I think the question is city issues versus the rural issues. And we represent the people who elect us, and there's definitely a difference between what the rural voters want and what the city voters want. But as a supervisor, you got to look at the whole county too, as far as sometimes you might not make your own voters happy if you do what's best for the county. So.
Okay, thank you. Because we have so many people and we want to get more than 2 questions, we're going to adjust a little bit and make, if it's okay, 60 seconds instead of a minute and a half. So that way maybe we get at least one more question in than we can. The next question starts with Jackie Zahner, and it's a 2-part question. Do you support the sale of the Portage County home? And if you do support the sale, how do you justify selling it when 68% of the voters voted to keep and pay for it?
Okay. So first off, I'd like to say that I have a vast amount of experience as a registered nurse working in collaboration with the Portage County home, which includes having worked with the current administrator, Marcia McDonald. Many people probably don't know that Marcia was also administrator at a number of different assisted living facilities within Stevens Point. And I worked with her extensively, and she's a great person and very knowledgeable. When she became the administrator at Portage County Home, I was greatly impressed because it was a good fit for her. I've also worked with numerous staff and residents at the home, plus I've had family members there. Currently, it's my understanding that we're losing almost $3 million annually at the Portage County home, and that property assessment is being done to find out what the assessed value would be because we have a potential buyer. There's obviously many pros and, oops. Oh, I'm sorry, that is a quick minute.
It's quicker, it's
Forgive
quicker.
me, I apologize.
Thank you. Amberly.
Whew, okay, 1 minute. I do not support the sale of the home, but I do support a new referendum in November, and if my voters vote against supporting the home, the Portage County Healthcare Center, if they don't vote in favor of that referendum, I will vote with my district. Personally, I think it is an asset to this community. It has 5-star healthcare, and if we sell it, there is a very little chance it will remain. That quality of care, and people on Medicare and Medicaid will have a harder time finding those resources that they need close to home.
Thank you. Ray Reeser.
I'll keep it fairly short. No, I don't agree with selling the county home, the healthcare center. I sat on the healthcare center committee for 2 years as a supervisor. After I was off the county board, I was asked to come back. I spent another 1.5 years on a special committee for the healthcare center. We have an incredible facility. Yes, we're having trouble with staffing. Yes, it's costing us money as a county. This is a service for Portage County. We need to be looking after our elderly and the people who are least able to afford it. I am not in favor of selling the healthcare center.
Okay, thank you. Suzanne Olkey.
The healthcare center was my first professional job, so I have emotional ties to the center. I do, however, hear from my constituents that they're concerned about the tax levy that will be the responsibility of the taxpayer. And in regards to the movement that's going forward now, I do support a fall election referendum so the voters have their opportunity to vote again and make that final decision.
Okay, thank you. Steve Fritz.
I've talked to a lot of residents about this, and a lot of residents didn't know all of the facts when they voted in the last referendum. And there were, a lot of things weren't clear to them on actually what was going on and how much it's going to cost. We have to cut through the rhetoric and the emotions on this issue and really look at it as what it is. It's a business, and what is the bottom line for this? So when I talk to my residents, I want their opinions, and I will vote the way that my residents wish me to vote on this issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Al Haga.
The question on the referendum is, should we continue to fund it? Should we continue to put almost a total of $8 million over 20 years towards it? And then I hear that if it passes, then we can build a new center. But if it fails, are the rest of these folks that are here, are they saying then we should close it or sell it? Because the only question that's being asked is, this time or in the other referendums, was should the taxpayers continue to fund it? This question has been before us about the elderly, and that you don't care about the elderly. Well, we have other areas for that money that could be used for mental health issues, foster kids, drug and alcohol addictions. Those monies could be used there as well. You don't care about those people. Unfortunately, we spend $6.1 million a year at Health and Human Services for those folks. It'd be nice if we could throw an extra $3 or $4 million at that every year to make it a better program.
Okay, thank you. Okay. John Bertelson.
In the previous panel, there was a supervisor or a candidate that said there's a gentleman that drives 85 miles to see the person he's guardian for in a different county because he needs skilled care. That's me. His name is Francis. And the reason he's in Clark County is because Portage County, private, public, nobody can meet his needs. And what's interesting about Clark County is they are able to make a go of it. Skilled care is expensive, and it's a money loser no matter who's doing it. But Clark County also offers services that do pay for themselves. And if Clark County can do it, I don't know why Portage County can't. And take it to the voters. If the voters vote it down this fall, I'm fine with it. But don't sell it to a one-star buyer. I guess I'd rather see it closed than to sell it to someone that's not going to do a good job.
Nancy.
I'll start.
I disagree with the sale. The county-run facility is kind of the way to go to help protect our elderly. I think we do need to look at other business models to see if we can make the county home run more effectively and efficiently. And the wishes of the people matter, and in 2 referendums, they've supported it, and I feel like we really need to listen to what the people have said. I've knocked on over 500 doors in the last couple of months, and the vast majority of people that I spoke with were strongly in favor of the healthcare centers. So for me, I would have to support that.
Okay. Thank you. The next question starts with Amberly. And this came from the audience. How will you ensure that the voices of marginalized communities are heard and represented in the district's governance? And I'm wondering if that means county governance. I'm not sure. How do you plan to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion?
That's a great question. Well, we had a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee on this county for a short time. I believe my opponent was one of the people opposed to it, showing up at all the committee meetings and just generally not being supportive of that. We need to promote inclusiveness in our community. We do have a young workforce that we need to include and bring in. We have children that we want to stay here. We want them, maybe they'll go off to college, maybe they'll go fly away for a while. We want them to come home someday and feel safe here. We want them to feel like this is a place where they can raise their own kids and their kids can feel safe no matter what background they have, no matter where they've come from. And so I think this is a really important topic that is coming up all over. We need to be paying attention to that.
Thank you. Ray Reeser.
I agree with Amber Lee. We had a diversity and inclusion committee, and we abolished it. I don't think that speaks well for Portage County. I think we need to bring that back. I also think that we need to really reach our hand out to exactly the demographics that Amber Lee was talking about. Portage County isn't going to survive, on old white guys. We need other people, and I would really like to see the Portage County Board reflect actually the diversity we have in our community in the county. Thank you.
Suzanne Olkey.
Yes, the DEI committee was actually insightful when it was organized. I wasn't serving at that time, but I did serve when it was released or abolished. And I think when I looked at it as a model, it was operating 1 year to organize, to get itself on its feet with a mission statement, so on and so forth. The second year, it was said, nobody's doing anything in this committee. But that's still considered a pretty freshman committee. So you need to give systems like that an opportunity and a chance to really get rolling and complete outcomes.
Thank you. Steve Fritz.
Years ago, DEI was part of growing up. You learn how to respect other people. You learn to open a door for a person. You gave up your seat for a lady. These are things that we had all years ago. And now we need to have a committee to enforce what? Rules, regulations, laws on this? This is something that we've been doing for decades. And I think we should just, instead of trying to force a DEI mandate, we just kind of keep what we've been doing, respect each other, and move on from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Al Haga.
As I listen to this, I'm just interested in at the county as far as how that fits in with the hiring to make somebody come here to apply for something, or in our position now, if we're lacking something, it's like we hire the best candidate for that position if they apply. If they don't, I don't know how you're going to be able to entice them to come here, whether it's their families here or for various reasons. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. John Bertelson.
Okay, let's say I go into a restaurant and they say we don't serve anyone under 6 feet tall. What do? Who do I go to complain? It's not fair, right? Okay, somebody goes into a county service and they feel disrespected or not treated for whatever reason. Where do they go? Where do they get service? Where do they get recourse? I guess the diversity committee was one possible avenue for a person to go to if they felt unfairly treated in a community, but I guess the question is, where is that void filled now?
Okay. Nancy.
Sorry.
It's really unfortunate that the diversity committee was dissolved. I think what we need to do is embed diversity and inclusion in all policies across every department in the county, so that department by department we are paying attention and being welcoming to everybody no matter what service we're providing and in which department in the county is doing that service. So that's one thing we can do. Also, by really promoting diversity and inclusion, I think we are going to draw more young workers to our community who really are interested in joining a community that is open to people of different backgrounds and just differences in general.
Okay, thank you. And Jackie Zahner.
It was my understanding that the committee was dissolved because other supervisors didn't really feel that anything was being much done with it. I personally believe that any monies that were connected with that would be put to better use in other areas because we have a lot of needs here in Portage County. I think people can get along. I think we have laws about hiring practices and things, so I don't think that we need to have a special committee involved with that.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll do the next question, starting with Ray Reeser. Portage County's sandy soils are particularly susceptible to groundwater contamination, and many private wells have unsafe levels of nitrate. Repeated scientific studies have concluded that agriculture is a major contributor to nitrate in groundwater in rural areas. What will you do as a county board supervisor to ensure that all residents of Portage County have safe drinking water from private wells?
Thank you for that question. Even before I was on the county board, as a geoscientist, I worked on this problem. We have data going back 40 years that addresses the sources of contamination in Portage County and all the way across the state. Portage County has failed to address this issue. When I was on the county board, when you step on the county board, you fill out a form which asks you what committees you want to sit on. Again, I've got a PhD in the geosciences. I requested that I be placed on the Land and Water Conservation Committee to bring some science to that committee. I was not allowed to sit on that committee. Two supervisors who were on the committee stood up in the county board meeting and said they would gladly step off Land and Water if I was placed on the committee. Again, I was not placed on that committee. Instead, I've attended absolutely every single Land and Water Conservation Committee meeting since. Portage County really needs to deal with this issue, and it needs good faith negotiation. We need farmers at the table, but we need reasonable people on that committee to move this ahead.
All right, thank you. Suzanne?
Yes,
Okay.
a lot to address in 60 seconds. But in my public health role, I was aligned with nitrate monitoring. We served populations at risk, pregnant women and infants. So looking at those nitrate levels, and especially in areas where access to clean water sources was really an issue. So we not only talk about the right to have clean and adequate water, we're going to talk about access to clean and adequate water. And those become really relevant issues in terms of when we consider well-being of Portage County. And that's why part of my platform is the well-being in all those three areas that I mentioned earlier. And yellow, yeah. And yeah, I guess, thank you.
Steve Fritz?
When we look at nitrates in groundwater, we have to look at every aspect of fertilizer. There are a lot of people who have lawns out there that have 7 to 9 applications of extremely high nitrogen fertilizer put on their lawns. And so you can't always just blame the farmers, and you can't just blame the residents either. What we have to do is take a whole nother look at the system of plant nutrition and find a product that we can use that will be absorbed immediately and not enter the groundwater. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Al Haga?
So I think it was mentioned earlier that someone had worked to have $500,000 set aside for reverse osmosis systems set up for anybody in Portage County who has high nitrates. That was myself and then Executive Holman. I also had State Representative Shanklin asked if she could address the county board floor to talk about the program that she had as far as, I think it was up to $10,000 for someone to get a new well drilled that had high nitrates. I think that these are Band-Aids. There's a lot of work to be done. I was also supportive of the wells in Nelsonville to make sure that we can track the problem and figure out where its source is. Thank you. I'll just throw it down.
There you go. Thank you. I stretches my legs. John Bertelson.
Yeah, I'll shape it as a football next time, maybe we can pass, huh? Chairman Hager's right. We got to get at the source of the pollution, and that is only going to, the Band-Aids only work so well. Home reverse osmosis, I think, only works up to 25 parts per million. Over that, you maybe need 2 in a row or special filters. But without testing, where do you go to find where the source is coming from so you can start minimizing it? And if this current Land and Water Committee cannot even agree on testing, we're stuck. I mean, you don't get to the solutions if you can't test and make fact-based decisions.
Nancy.
We need to work with farmers and local experts to reduce contamination, because the main thing is we need to work on prevention and not just treatment, because treatment, as John said, is not always the best option. I think we need to really strongly support the new groundwater specialist, were we to get one. We have an obligation to protect the air, land, and water of the county, and county board and our departments have that same obligation. And we can have no personal agendas to protect livelihoods versus safe drinking water for neighboring residents. We need to work with local and regional groups concerned with nitrate contamination to come up with some good solutions and some innovative ways to make our groundwater and our drinking water safe for everybody in Portage County.
Thank you. Jackie Zahner.
Thank you. Yes, well, I believe that we all want safe water. Sometimes it seems to me that people think that somebody doesn't. But we all want safe water, and we all should have safe water. We do have a strong agricultural county, and although it sounds like it hasn't been, our county has worked to provide the reverse osmosis filtration systems by using that American Restorative Funds. And we currently have installed monitoring wells, which will provide significant data. So we need to work together collaboratively with stakeholders, including the farmers.
Okay, and Amberly.
All right, well, I could talk on this for more than 60 seconds. I could talk on this all day. My degree is in water resource management. It's what I came here for in the first place. It's what brought me to Stevens Point, wanting to help people with issues with their water. So I know in great detail a lot about this. If you want to know more about what's going on in Portage County, look into Portage County for Clean Water. They're a small organization that sends out information to local media sources to let people know what is going on. I want to address a few things that were said. Looking at aspects of fertilizer on lawns, Mr. Fritz, we've looked into that. That is not the source. The source is agriculture. We know that is the source. When you know you're pregnant, you don't keep taking pregnancy tests. You go have a baby. We know the source is agriculture. We have the proof. And now we have these monitoring wells, which is wonderful, so we can really, really have that proof even stronger. The other thing is RO filters are great as a Band-Aid, as a temporary source, but there are wells that have over 30 parts per million, reaching 40 parts per million in Nelsonville, and when you get that high, RO filters will not filter enough to make that water safe to drink.
Okay, thank you. The time does go fast. So we're at the time, so we try to stay close to being on time, to start with the closing statements. The closing statements is an opportunity for the candidates to comment on topics not covered in the questions. And again, the order will be by draw.
Will these be 60 or back?
1.5. And the first person will be Jackie Zahner.
What the next question?
Since January, I've been knocking,
I could hold any of you.
Since January, I've been knocking over 1,000 doors in our district, and I've talked to hundreds of neighbors. That, of course, is evidenced by the amount of signs that I have throughout the district. I've worked hard to listen to the concerns expressed, and in Whiting and parts of Plover, the major issue I repeatedly heard about was speed of traffic safety issues, particularly on Highway H.H. McDill Avenue and connecting streets throughout the villages. I've personally met with 3 sheriff's deputies about this issue and the prospects of a new jail justice center to gather more information from their perspectives. I greatly appreciated their time and attentiveness extended to me in answering my numerous questions. On February 28th, I spoke at the Portage County Board Public Safety Emergency Management Committee meeting and shared with them our district neighbors' concerns. I personally spoke with Sheriff Lucas after the meeting, and he graciously extended an invitation to meet further. I've since attended the Village of Whiting and Plover Board meetings to advise them that should I be elected, I will be accessible to them and work collaboratively with them on issues to move Portage County forward. I ask for your vote on April 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Al Haga.
Then I'm done. You can go home. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on. I also want to recognize the SPASH Senate, the younger folks that are involved in this. I think that's great that we've got people that are young and that want to be in politics. I don't know why, but thank you for being here. In my role, I don't have just one issue or 2 issues to concentrate on. I have many issues, and there's many things to be worked on and continue to work on. We have the jail issue. We have the Ruth Gilfrey building. We have a regional morgue that we're talking about in this area, trying to get that done and off the ground that will benefit us in Portage County as well as a lot of counties to the north. We have land and water. We have nitrate issues to deal with, code of conduct issues to deal with, trying to get people to get along. And in my role, that's one of my positions, is that I have to talk to all those people. And by the way, I'm the one that created the code of conduct because of complaints. And as a lot of you probably don't realize, that elected officials, I don't have much control as the county board chair to do much to them. So we all agreed on a code of conduct to try and have some kind of control over that. There are things with the city that need to be worked on with the security in the courthouse and how we get along. We have had discussions, and as Judge Baker knows, that's ongoing. So I ask for your support on April 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Still would like to throw that down there.
Ray Reeser.
Thank you. Portage County is our home, and decisions made that affect the county affect all of us. There's a few things I want for Portage County. I want to see responsiveness, science, good faith, and accountability across all county committees. I want to see a real cross-section of our community on our county board. I want to see us honestly tackle groundwater contamination, not deny it, not blame residents for it. I want to see us as a county provide for our elderly and safely and responsibly deal with those who end up in our criminal justice system. I want county staff to be able to complete their work based on training and facts, not micromanaged or blocked by committees that don't hold that same expertise. Sadly, I'm the owner of a contaminated rural well. Rural wells have no protection under the law. I want my grandkids to be able to drink the water out of my well again, just like my kids did. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on tonight. And mostly, I want all of you to vote on the 2nd.
Thank you. Nancy Eggleston.
Hi there. I just want to let you know that I am prepared to serve Portage County well. There is absolutely no room for personal bias, self-serving behavior, or personal agendas on county board. As Joan mentioned earlier, complaints had been going on for years, and they were allowed to go on unchecked. I observed at meetings and committee meetings and board meetings, citizens being treated with disdain and disrespect when they come in to give their opinions and to talk to the board. There's got to be a lot more transparency in county government. We need to listen to the public and seek out stakeholders and respond to their needs. We need to know what the public is looking for, what they need, and we need to be able to take care of their needs within the actions we take. People need a voice in their community, and right now it does not seem like they feel like they have a voice or that they are listened to when they try to talk, and they also are not really well informed of what's going on within their community. There's just not a lot of ways to get the information, but we need to make that effort to get that information out to them. I will be a strong leader for Portage County, accountable to the public and responsive to their needs. So please vote for change on April 2nd. And thanks to the League for putting this on.
Thank you. Steve Fritz. Here.
Oopsie.
Okay.
You can do it.
What?
Make it short.
Make it short. Well, you gotta go to the bathroom? Yeah, that's one thing. Next time, can we not have running water next to the panel? Well, in closing, what I would like to say is that I believe in representative government. And I've been asked, for the 21 years I've been on the village board, have I ever voted against my own opinion on something? And I say, yes, I have. That's why we have a roundabout on Highway 54 South in the village of Plover. I hate roundabouts, but my constituents wanted one, so that's the way I went. And that's how I believe all government should be, because our opinions should not matter. And we should be talking constantly, not just around April, but all the time to our constituents. Give them the facts. Let them chew on it for a while, and then have them tell you how they want you to represent them. And that's my true core belief, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
She's getting her steps in.
John Zermelson.
She's getting her steps in.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. It's public speaking is, it can be scary and it can be fun at the same time. So tonight was actually a very good forum. Thank you. One very important consideration for me when all is said and done in the next couple of weeks, if I win, I will represent my opponent on our county board. We may disagree, but I will listen. My county priorities are keeping the county nursing home and consider expanding services, clean drinking water for all, and rehabilitative justice, jail and court in one location. Don't need 6 miles in between. You don't see that in Wood County, you don't see that in Alpaca County. If elected, I actually would like to serve on the committee that oversees parks, or maybe our outstanding public libraries, or maybe solid waste. There are many good public services that I would like to be involved with. And finally, code of conduct. It was interesting. I was a little upset with what happened on light punishment, and Executive Pavelski's new secretary, Jane Iwanski, kind of put a light bulb off in my head when she said, "John, who is Supervisor Peterson's boss?" He doesn't have a boss other than you, the voters. So it's very important that you make an informed decision when you vote April 2nd, and I ask for your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Amberly.
All right, well, I'm going to address a couple things that we didn't get to answer. The jail is a big deal. I got a chance to tour it and visit that facility with the captain of corrections, and we absolutely need a new jail, and I don't think anyone disagrees on that. The location should be accessible and near the center of the population. I don't know if it needs to be right downtown, but I believe it needs to stay in Stevens Point and closer to the population center. Those resources are needed for many people. Another thing I'd like to address about a question earlier going back to diversity, is if we have staff quitting for gender discrimination, we have a hostile work environment on our county government, and we need DEI in county government. All right, and then my closing will have to be real quick. I am Amberly Schwartz for District 19. I really would like to see Portage County be a safe, healthy, and prosperous place for all of our kids to come back and grow up and stay for a long, long time. My strengths are in community service, in collaboration, in fostering cooperation, and I'm going to leave you with a quote that I believe Mr. Haga alluded to earlier. Greatness is not measured by the walls we build, but by the bridges.
Thank you. And Suzanne Olkey.
Okay, well, I'm going to use this platform to bounce around, I think, to 3 entities. So I'm going to briefly just touch on DEI, because it really is not a rule, or it's not a way, it's a culture. So when we foster that culture, we're fostering it in terms of our environment in Portage County, and that's important. 2, I respect the function that I serve as a county supervisor, and that's mainly in policy making, legislation. So I would like to see, a little lofty, but creative thinking gets us there, I'd like to see us really advocate for more state levy. And we can do that through systems beyond Portage County. It doesn't have to be our personal efforts, but we can go even to Wisconsin County associations and see what they can do for us. They have the advocates that really get elbow to elbow with our decision makers. And the code of conduct provides clear standards for how we adhere to dignity and respect for the people we serve. And when I notice something is not quite right, it becomes my responsibility too, as a county supervisor, to step up, because that's my team, and I want my team to be healthy. So I would take on that responsibility, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you to the candidates for their time and effort and energy that they are investing in running for the Portage County Board, and also participating in this forum tonight. Please feel free to stay to talk with constituents out in the lobby after the conclusion of this forum. And also be sure to stop at the candidates table if you're interested in the candidates' literature. On the April 2nd ballot, Portage County voters will also be voting for several other offices, including the presidential preference primary, the Stevens Point Area School District Board, the Stevens Point City Council Alders, the Stevens Point Plover Joint Municipal Judge, and the Stevens Point Area School District Referendum. Also on the ballot are 2 statewide ballot measures. One prohibits any level of government in the state from applying or accepting non-governmental funds or equipment for election administration. The other provides that only election officials designated by law may administer elections. The League of Women Voters of Wisconsin has a candidate guide, which may be found at vote411.org, and there is myvote.wi.gov, which also provides information about the April 2nd elections and the voting process. So this concludes the forum for the County Board Supervisors, District 15, 16, 17, 19, and 25. Thank you, candidates and audience, for your participation and attention. We also wish to thank Seth Hendricks and John Quirk of the City of Stevens Point, who taped the forum and will replay the forums on the city site on stevenspoint.com/YouTube, as well as on the local access channel. Along with tonight's 3 district supervisors forums, the Stevens Point Area School District Forum, School Board Candidate Forum, and the Stevens Point City Alders Forum will also be on the YouTube site and the local access channel. And in fact, both of those are already on the YouTube site if you want to view those. These broadcasts are an appreciated service to area citizens. Thank you to the League members, to the members of the UWSP Student Government Association, members of the Portage County Business Council, and the SPASH Student Senate, who volunteered in various roles this evening to make the forum possible. We couldn't do it without all of them. And we also thank the staff of the Lincoln Center for their assistance and for the use of this meeting room. The League believes that when you vote, you are participating in one of the most basic and important responsibilities you have as a citizen. When you vote, you are empowering your political voice. Please remember to vote on April 2nd. Your vote does count. Now let us show our appreciation for our candidates.